It's tough. It's tough. And I think that one of the things we talked about, being here and at this event is a reminder of how important leadership is, not just being a business owner. If you're not ahead of the game, you're going to fall behind because your competitor is going to find what's going on. Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. We are not in BC today. We are in Arizona, enjoying the Movers and Shakers event. It has finished off, but I'm just so happy that we get to sit down. I love these kind of fun podcasts that we get to do where we're on location, we're chilling at the Airbnb, the air's flowing. We got Matt Young here with movingletters.ai who nicely got everything all set up for us. What's up, Matt?
Let's go.
We got Joe Pucci, like the Pucci, like the Gucci. I just like Pookie. I want to call you like Pookie Bear or something, right?
Please don't.
So, with Choice Moving Company, located out in Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Fort Collins and Denver.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And then we got Allen Vargas.
Yes,
right?
Sir. Yep.
With two college movers.
Yes. Two college movers out of Fort Collins, Colorado. Same as
so. If you guys are paying attention within the last 30 seconds here, both of them said they're from Fort Collins. And all right.
Yep.
So like that is, this is kind of why I have to sit between, if you're watching this on video, I have to sit between these guys because here they're sharing an Airbnb. They are competitors within their own market, and they've just been like bickering like the entire time they've been here. They're fighting over something. A lead came in. One was like, I got that lead. And the other guy, no, I got this lead. Who's the faster salesperson? Like, it's been horrible to have to babysit these two. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. They've been wonderful, but like this is kind of the essence of going to these kind of moving events, right? You go, the reality is that we've talked about this on the podcast. You are either associated with like a van line or a moving association. So like the California Moving Association, I don't think Colorado has one.
No.
They used to though. I remember I was talking to somebody out there that has, or the Arizona.
Yep, we got Arizona
Association. You have, I know that Moving Letters is part of the New Jersey one.
Yeah, we're New Jersey, North Carolina now. So yeah, the associations have been great.
So you got these associations, they happen yearly. You're usually kind of part of whatever's going on within that community, or you're part of a van line and they will have their yearly conference. But, other than the Louis Massaro events over the last couple of years, now you got the Moving Titan events where it's brought in independent movers together. And a lot of times, if you're not ahead of the game, you're going to fall behind because your competitor is going to find what's going on. You both are in the same marketplace, two hustling moving companies that are continually growing, learning the same information, going back to your teams and going, hey, this is what we're learning. This is what we're going to bring back. I'm afraid of those that are in your area because you are two forces to reckon with, and you have no problem collaborating, working together, which is to me what it's all about. How do you feel about it, Joe?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's nothing but positive outcomes that come from it. Neither Alan or myself have that scarcity mindset that there's not enough or that we have to keep guarded secrets. I think nowadays with YouTube and all the free resources out there, there's just not a lot of golden secrets that people are safeguarding and gatekeeping. I think it's more like you said, if you can find ways to collaborate, work on things together and kind of share the overall pie, then you can kind of work on creating some dominance in the market together or in different ways, different aspects. We both have kind of different specialties even though we're in the same area. So yeah, there's definitely overlap in the Venn diagram, but you're trying to kind of figure out what's going to work best for your team and grow into the space and that your goals are, where they are for each person.
I like that. Now, Alan, Joe gave a very safe answer. That was a very
political.
I'm very political. Yes, we can work together in this environment and everything else. We want some crush you. So it's your time, Alan, to come back. Now you can play that political game as well too, or just tell Joe really what's on your mind. Don't worry, I am the border between you two. But do you feel the same? Do you also see that? Because my follow-up question after you answer is, are there other moving companies within your area that also have that same view, or that you guys reach out to work together. So what's your take on that, Alan, of going to the same events, learning the same, and then are there others within your area that you would also be interested in working with?
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done. Get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think, for me, going to these events is really just kind of building, integrating with like-minded people and making sure that, we're getting out there, we're learning kind of what's new being presented out there. And then having, Joe in the same market, it just keeps, me on my toes in the sense of just making sure that we're keeping up with everything, right? That we're doing, the things the right way. And just knowing that our market's super competitive. I mean, it's just in this event, we have, another moving company. So it's highly competitive, but it's iron sharpens iron, and we're getting out there, and it's just meeting good people. I mean, I think that's the big thing. I think if Joe wasn't a good person, then sure, you can look at him as a competitor, but
Oh, I'm sure people could say lots of things about Joe.
He's a real
All
show.
just people here.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And sorry to interrupt, Alan. You're keep going, man.
oh no, I mean, ultimately what I'm getting out of it is just, being able to be around people that, understand my day to day, but at the same time that are, experiencing the same things that, I am, as a father, and be able to connect, at that level, and just being, from the same town. I mean, really having another person that understands, what you have to go through on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And then Matt, your moving company is how far away from theirs?
It's probably a couple hours.
Oh, okay. So there's really no.
We're not sitting there
You're
crossing
not.
really a whole lot, but I've worked with Alan's team before. They came down to do a move in our area, and I brought one of my guys out to help him downtown, I think once, or a situation like that. And I know if I needed somebody up there, he'd be willing to help. We actually have collaborated on, a couple like pod loads. Somebody wanted to move to Fort Collins. I think I referred him, and he got that job. So, it's good to have that collaboration. That was before I knew Joe, so no animosity here, right?
This is between you two now.
Oh gosh,
I'll let it go.
yeah, me and
My
me and
budget just went down for mailers.
No.
Just kidding.
So me and Alan, we had met at some of these Louis Massaro events, in Colorado, and now we meet up. We get our families together. His kiddos went down to Ellie's birthday, my kid's birthday party. We go to Waterworld once a year, so it's just really awesome. Me and Joe meet up. We do, some golf stuff. So it's really great to have these guys. But to Alan's point, there was another moving company here. I don't know if I want to shout them out, but like Skyline Moving,
Shout out to Skyline. Yeah.
Skyline, and they're out there. And they're also in your market. So I'm like, you got three kind of younger, hip, into the moving industry, always wanting to get better and accelerate. And you three are always at these events. And it's like, man, I always like, dang, that's got to be awkward. But you guys kind of roll with it really well. And I see that. Do you have anything to add to that, Joe? Like kind of what that vibe is?
I mean, I just think the kind of corny, but the benefits to our community. It like we talk about it a lot, and I'm like, man, like it's really just it's hard to compete because we're all really trying to be top notch, and we're all going to all of the national things to sharpen our skills and to learn what's the most competitive modern way of driving this train. And so yeah, like it's really to the benefit of our community. They're getting good movers when you get a couple bids from some of the best companies in town, and those typically are going to be the three that are at these conferences and are going to all the stuff and are sending their salespeople to sales trainings and stuff. It's like that's the community benefits the most. And then like Alan said, we all have the accountability knowing that the person next door is working just as hard as we are to grow this thing. And so, you better do what you can to do the right moves, and, everyone wants to just play chess fairly.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's rewind the tape. Alan, how many years have you owned your moving company?
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
This will be our 13th season.
13th season.
13th season, yes.
What have you found that has worked well? So if you rewind yourself 13 years, like what would be the top 3 things you do differently today? Like, would you tell yourself 13 years ago, be like, young Allen, watch out, like do this.
Record and document everything. I mean, that's just being able to turn processes, and get everything down on paper and be able to pass it on to somebody else and do it efficiently. For me, I wish I would have been able to do that. If I was able to get that down sooner, and train and scale. But, for me, I think the first 5 or 6 years, we just didn't have stuff like this. We didn't have Lewis. We didn't have the education to kind of go into it. And Joe, we were talking and mentioned, I think we both kind of came from moving companies that weren't doing it right. So I think we kind of looked at it like, okay, well, I think I can do this better. Finding Lewis and finding like, okay, this is how you can set up these processes, and then going to the Titan retreats and getting all that education. Yeah, I mean,
Now the devil's advocate in me goes, as a moving company owner that has seen guys come and go that have said, hey, Mark, you know what? Like, I think I could do this better, and I'm going to go ahead and buy a truck. And you're just, as a business owner, you're always like, fuck, like, shit, this guy was a really good driver and now he's leaving. And then you think, what did I do wrong within the organization? And how could I have kept him? And should I have given him some type of shares, some way to expand? You both are sitting there going, look, we worked for moving companies. We thought we could do better. And we went out and did our own. What did you find was some of the first difficult situations where you're going, oh, you know what? Like, this is actually a lot tougher than it looked like. Joe, what were some of the things that you saw right in the beginning when you started a moving company that you're like, I was not expecting this?
Not expecting and not being experienced to handle were kind of different. I was expecting that the bottom dollar would, fall on me. And at the end of the day, things that when you're working for someone else and it's the ultimate, like, all right, it's on to you now because she wants to talk to the owner, or this damage claim's gone past me. There is none of that. So I was aware of that. But when you get into it and you have your first really bad experiences with customers, really bad experiences firing someone, whatever it is, those are your first time going through them. So you just don't have the experience to, kind of handle it with grace, handle it with the swiftness it needs, whatever it is. And you recognize those inefficiencies and it sucks. And you have to go through it to get better at it.
Alan, what about you?
I think for me, it was just kind of the people management portion of it, and kind of building culture, and just realizing how important that is, and realizing what that kind of means. You know, for me, you know, building that culture, you know, having guys kind of stick around, you know, wanting to work for your moving company. I don't think I realized how hard that was going to be.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And I think that one of the things we talked about, being here and at this event is a reminder of how important leadership is, not just being a business owner, right? But that we're actually leaders within our community, within our company and everything else. Matt, for yourself, what have you found? Because you work with a lot of moving companies, especially with moving letters. Have you seen companies go to these events and then like a drastic change where they're like, oh, we really want to upgrade like the brochures and logos, or because you're getting some of the stuff in there? What would you suggest to moving company owners that are listening to this when it comes out to doing direct mails? Because that got brought up several times. You didn't even tell some of the speakers that direct mail or handwritten letters is so important. They were actually promoting that without even a cord, like, that those personal touches are so important. What do you see on the marketing side that some moving companies are just not doing, that they hear some tips of this is what you need to do to change to be more effective?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think for me would be just professional imagery. Hiring a professional photographer in your area. Maybe they're new, maybe they're a college kid that's willing to do it in an inexpensive rate, because we can take pictures on our iPhones all day and they're great. But sometimes having a different perspective and a different mind on it. I mean, I'll give you an example. We recently just did a media day. And of course, you know how big of a nerd I am. I brought all my camera equipment and she brought hers, and I would just snap a bunch of photos. Obviously, hers, I'll be honest, I don't think she had as good of a lens or as good of a camera. And she still,
Exposure was off.
the exposure was off, but she still made it look way better than I could have ever, because she has the mind for it. She's a photographer. She's the professional, and I respect that. And so I would say go get professional photography done. We've talked about it on a podcast I've been with on Joe. I talk about it all the time. It's fairly inexpensive. It's like $1,000 to maybe do a media day with everything. And that branding, that imagery that you can kind of erase all those old crappy iPhone photos from your Google business profile and on your website and replace it with that branding into your company is so important. And I know, there's some great moving companies that do it already. I know you've done some professional photography in the past we've had discussions about, but that's the number one thing that I think people could add to their mailers, because we do find that moving companies unfortunately lack that. And then we're trying to work with them, and unfortunately they don't have that proper, assets. And then when you're trying to take accountability, because I take full accountability for their account, if they don't see a success with this, that sucks, man. So I really want to help push them into getting some of that stuff done.
I like those points, because you sometimes don't think about it, especially for the fact that with iPhones now and the new Android phones, and we've got these, beautiful Google Pixel. They take really fantastic photos as well too.
Yeah.
That you just go on site and you're like, great, snap, 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 snap. Let's use this for the website. Let's use this. But when it comes down to print, when it comes to really those professionals, that's why they always say when you talk to photographers going, look, spend the extra bucks. Do not do a selfie shot when you're going to do a headshot for yourself. Like, just go get it professionally done. Have it done properly, because it's like night and day. It reminded me of meeting a moving company at this event. And I had said to them, do you have a business card? They said, actually, we don't. We just usually carry along these brochures. So, okay. Hands me a brochure. So I'm flipping through this brochure and reading it. It's not bad. But as I got to the back, they had 2 or 3 links, like to go to resource web pages.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the written out long. It wasn't even a short form link. It was like this whole long thing. Not even a QR code, nothing. It was just like this massive long link. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what are you doing? No, I didn't get a chance to. Trust me, I will be definitely reaching out to them. I have no problem reaching out to them. But it's one of those things where marketing is key, and having and simplifying it when it comes down to the customers. The customers aren't going to sit there typing in some massively long URL. They want to just get their phones out, take a QR code. The marketing needs to be on point. Mm-hmm. I think, to follow up with Matt, what he's saying is get professional photography. Make sure that you are, you having not a pixelated logo. Have those kind of things clear. Make a folder for it, so that when you are going to do mailers, when you are going to do any kind of advertising, brochures, business cards, that you have really good quality imagery. because that's going to go a long way at the end of the day.
Exactly. And to add to that real quick, Mark, is like if you're going to schedule a media day and you're going to go forth with this advice that we're presenting today, make sure you include your family. If you have to call your kids out of school for the day, bring them along with it. Get them in a, you know, for you, you know, branded shirt, right? And then you're also integrating your family, because at the end of the day, you know, my moving company, probably yours and yours, is small enough to be, we're family owned business. We're not trying to act like we're a big corporation. We don't have 1-800 numbers. We want you to look in to see who we are, and people are going to like, you know, hire people that they like and who they vibe with, and showing them into your life of who your family is. Sometimes I used to think like, hide them behind the scenes. They don't need to know who they are, but it's like, put them out in the front. People want to know who you are. Share.
I get singled out. You like hop over me. Like, why can't my family be part of?
Did I not include you on this? Well, I thought these two are the guests. I'm sorry, Mark. Mark, you can't do mail in Canada, man. Remember, Canada Post canceled you guys.
We can't. Can't do nothing.
You can't do it. Sorry.
No, I go on bicycle and I just hand deliver these mailers. What are you doing this afternoon? I'm just going, getting the bike ride.
Tossing them out on the morning route.
Yep.
That's right. My paper boy route.
Sorry,
Oh,
Mark.
that's funny. Well, you know, we talked about this in the beginning. We came down here for the Movers and Shakers event. Those that I've had on the show and interviewed, and one of the episodes we did when I had Matt on was, what was the biggest takeaway?
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. You know, they found the perfect candidate for our company. Not only that, they helped answer the questions that we had about the process. You know, initially, you know, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating, but they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. You know, our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025.
And another game changer for our company. I'm confident to be a game changer.
Visit ReadyRolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we have 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
That you learn from coming to this event, because, you know, for those that have been to all the Moving Titan events, Andy Elliott was a featured speaker. There was a hit and miss on, you know, people that really soaked it in. People that said, this guy is just out of his mind. Is he going to pull me on stage? Is he going to make me take off my shirt, tell me I'm fat? Like all these kind of things. And, or is he going to make me go and do crazy objections? 2 areas that I find, if you are offended by or taken back on, are places that you probably actually need to work on. I remember sitting there in the front row, and one of the guys beside me, Karsten, said, I wonder if he's going to call us up to do some objections. And I thought in my head, I'm like, aside from being part of the moving army and doing the role playing of Friday objections and sales calls, I don't do enough sales calls that I don't know how good I was. So in my head, I'm role playing my own scenario. How am I going to answer? Andy Elliott's going to, this guy's crazy at sales. Like, how am I going to do it? And kind of going, man, I've been in the business for so long, but if you are not staying fresh of mind and being on top of your sales with anything, really, you start losing that touch that you had, like that quick wit. How am I going to close this person? And also when it comes down to taking off your shirt and, you're fat and you should have a 6-pack and everything else, you really, at the end of the day, and I know that Andy Elliott's explained this, but it's not even so much about, do you have a 6-pack? It's how are you living your life? How are you looking, you know, in the mirror going, I live a healthy lifestyle. I'm trying to live longer for my kids. Right. I am trying to be well balanced in my life with my family. Like it's a whole encompass. And those that actually work so hard to have a 6-pack, they're like Dan Martell says with the McLaren bicep, right? When you are driving around a McLaren, it's like this, hey, this guy's made it. Like he's owning like a $300,000 vehicle. Wow, like this is pretty cool. Same thing when you have that vein that's popping on your bicep. That's what he calls it, the McLaren bicep, right? He says, wow, like that person's going to the gym often enough. He's working hard, that pops. That shows when he meets someone, he sees someone that is working out, he goes, man, that guy's taking care of himself. He must be taking care of his family. He must be taking care of his business. It's like a whole different way to outlook on it. Andy Elliott spoke at this event, with the Movers and Shakers event. He brought this energy. He reminded us of how important leadership is. What was, and there was multiple speakers, right? I don't want to just single out just Andy, but for Joe, what was something that you took away from this Movers and Shakers event? And what's an action item that you want to implement when you're heading now back to Colorado?
Yeah. Okay, there's a lot there before, so trying to focus on the question of Andy Elliott.
Sorry, buddy. I felt like I did almost like a big long run-on sentence.
Well, he kind of summarized the event as well, but no, I mean it was a great event. Happy to do it. Shout out to Austin for putting it on, and I hope he keeps putting more on. The Andy mentality was kind of what I took away from a lot of this, not in the sense of, like you said, take off your shirt and show me your sales, but more so like just having a goal and an outlook on your life and letting that be the driving force that your business is feeding is a really important aspect. He leans a lot on it, on the faith first part of things. And I think for a lot of people, that's great. For me, it's for sure the family is part of all of that. My faith is kind of wrapped up in my family in one way or another. And so, I just appreciated all the things having to do with, reframing and kind of reframing your mind a little bit to how you want to inspire your guys to live a life that's more similar to yours. Because I kind of have had, I don't know, it's not necessarily like an imposter syndrome, but it's just this idea that like, this is what I do. What they do is something else. Their dreams are something else. Why would I possibly influence or interfere? When it's like, that's not really how it is. If you're doing your own thing and it's positive and people see those positive externalities, there's a good chance that they're going to either they're going to bring it up or they're going to want to know how it's getting done. And if you can enlighten them, if you can help them, if you can coach them, if you can show them a roadmap, I think those are effects that are bigger than just providing somebody a job. And that's something I haven't really thought of with my employees in a long time. So that's what I'm going to do as far as an action item. Just try to be a leader who's more present on how to live a great life than just simply, how to get great sales or how to do moving.
Nice. Alan?
I was just kind of add to that, but yeah, it's just understanding the self-leadership, right? And the importance of influence within your community. Just even thinking about, with your family, your kids are watching, he mentioned your team. And, are you being the person that, you say you're being when nobody's watching, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, for me, I want to just go back and, I really want to focus on that, I have some movers, that I think that yearn for some mentorship, right? And being that positive example, and watching them and the idea of building leaders within your team, it's exciting. And, I want to go back there and exactly kind of what he was saying is, I'll apologize for, maybe some shortcomings and kind of tell them, like I'm coming back from this event and, I want to be a better leader. I want to, implement some things to, be able to elevate them, so.
I like that.
Totally. Do you think that any of this leadership, like you said, with the family, do you kind of feel like you take anything away from that? Like I'll give a quick example. I called last night, called my wife and I said, like, after this, it's like, cause when Andy got up, he said something like, the wife learned to live without him. And you know what? My wife has literally told me that when I'm out here at these events or I'm not around, she's like, Matt, we've learned to live without you. Don't worry about it. It hurts. It's like, damn, dude, that sucks. I don't want that feeling. And so it does drive me to think like, how can I be better? How can I be more present in the moment and not just be like, man, I'm just grinding at all this work because I'm like providing for you guys, but actually providing from them within love and not just like financial support, right? And I think sometimes we get wrapped up in that. Do you take anything away from that, Alan, with like kind of that family aspect of the leadership or
Oh
any
yeah,
of that?
that's huge. I'm a big Cowboys fan, and one of the things that I always like appreciate about the Jones family is that they have their family involved in the business. To build a business and to talk about it positively, like in front of your kids, to think about they would want to work, in the business. Yeah, that's something that I never really kind of reflect on. But I see it, in that aspect with the Jones family. Like, your kids are with you, all the time. The people that you love, they're involved, they're excited about it. And that's something that, really excites me.
For sure. And I think like Alan, I've seen you before, take your daughter on long distance trips and do those things. Have you done that with your son before? And tell me about what that's like.
Oh yeah, just sharing the experience with her, and being able to let her know, and see what I do, on a day-to-day basis when I'm not there. And getting her to fold some pads, stuff of that nature. And then with my son, I promised him too, I don't do too many of the long hauls anymore, but I would most definitely do one just to go out with him and show him the experience also.
For sure.
Are you paying them here?
I can't talk about that on camera.
So I have another question. So Joe, when can we get you got some kiddos, man. When we put them on the trucks?
I don't know, man. I have 2 little girls. I don't think they're going to want to have anything to do with moving.
Yeah, I feel that.
We'll see. Maybe
I don't want them dating movers.
I don't want them moving to the warehouse.
Get out of here.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Moving isn't just about boxes, it's about new beginnings. At Salmon's Moving and Storage, we've been delivering peace of mind for over 100 years. From local moves to cross-country relocations, our team treats your move like it's our own, because your story matters. Trusted by generations and powered by care, precision, and people who get it right the first time. Salmon's Moving and Storage. Moving you forward since 1913. Book your move today at salmonsmoving.com.
Another thing that I was thinking about, as we were sitting here is it price fixing if there's only 3 companies doing it?
It's definitely not.
Okay.
Well, for all those that are watching and listening, one of the biggest things that I can suggest is to look within your community, find those, if you are attending these kind of events, to align yourselves with each other. There is no need to go, hey, you do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. This is 2025. There's enough work for everybody. Those that are going to work together, those that are going to collaborate, those that are going to invest in themselves and invest in their company by coming to these events are the ones that are going to succeed. They're the ones that are going to make it. And lastly, one of the things that was mentioned at this event, and I want everybody that is listening to take down a piece of paper, give yourself a self-audit. There is no camera that is following you around for the next 30 days. There's no cameras that are filming your lives like you think that you're that cool, that you are part of the Kardashians, or you're on a reality TV show. So there's a lot of shit that you get away with on a day-to-day basis that you need to sit down and give yourself an audit. Rate yourself 1 to 10. How are you with your family? How are you with your business? How is your health? How are you personally? And rate yourself. And then I want you to sit down and rate what you think your staff thinks of you on a 1 to 10, where you think your business is right now on a 1 to 10 scale. And if you are anywhere below 6, even 7, you should be coming to these events, or you should be reaching out within your community to go, how can I make myself better? And it's groups like this. It's sharing life experiences. It is involving our families together on an outing to share and learn, and how can we improve ourselves, our businesses, our marriages, our relationships, our staff. It's all of it encompassed to these kind of events. So apply yourself, invest in yourself, and you will succeed. And for all those, that's the way to stay movified, guys.
Yeah.
What do you think? Last words?
Last words for Mr. Pucci, man. What do you got here for us?
I think that was a pretty
Mr. Gucci.
Mr. Gucci Pucci, man.
Great final summary that you had. I agree with all those things. I think you should constantly be learning, constantly be figuring out what other people are doing, especially if they're in a position that you want to be in. You know, so yeah, I agree. These are great events. It's what I keep looking forward to. Gives me networking opportunities, meet like-minded people, hear their stories, relate it to mine. So yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff.
For sure.
For me, I mean, there's just aspect of self-improvement and self-leadership. You know, it's just how important that is, you know, within a business and an owner. You know, I think the hard truth is if we're struggling, it usually comes down to the owner. You know, and taking that that self-assessment and really sitting down and, you know, being real with yourself and, you know, are you doing the right things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis you know, to be successful?
That's great, man. Well, I really appreciate my Colorado boys getting on Movified, Mark. So thank you for representing for these guys. And, you know, right for the thumbnail, I just had a great idea, if that's okay. I want you to do a picture with these two, almost kind of going at it, and you in between them. You know, got to separate them, if that's okay. I love that. So if you see it on YouTube, look for the thumbnail.
That's right.
It's going to be fun. We're making a UFC-style thumbnail, but it'll be good, man. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Mark, thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matty.
Thanks,
That
Al.
was great. Always a pleasure to co-host with you. And for all those that are listening, we always appreciate it. Subscribe, follow, give us that 5-star on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's what kind of keeps us going. And give us your feedback. Are you self-auditing yourself? Are you working on yourself as individual, in your team, in your leadership? Share the comments. We want to read them. We want to hear about it. And that's the only way we can grow and learn. And for all those, stay moving.
Stay Movified.
Movified.
Let's go.